What's up, YouTube? Double R here, RC Richie. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I got a special request from one of my viewers, fellow subscribers. They basically wanted to see some more of Mt.Richmore. So today I'm going to show you the progress, what I did new, and we're going to go over my latest build from the ground up. This is my SCX24 XL build, aka Blade, rocking a Walmart toy body. So I'll go over all that stuff. But yeah, this is Mt.Richmore. I absolutely love crawling. I just got into crawling in October, and I'm absolutely addicted to it. I came over from 110th on road, electric and nitro cars. But I gotta tell you, man, I picked up on this crawling way faster than any other genre of RCing, and I absolutely love it. One thing I love about it so much is you can actually have so much fun in a personal space. One thing about those other cars, man, you always gotta seek out some place to run them, and somebody always wants to come and ruin your fun. Nobody can ruin my fun in here. But anyway, when I knew I was getting my first crawler back in October, it was the FX118. It was brushed. Automatically, I was kind of spoiled, but you know, that didn't stop me from getting brush motors. But as soon as I got my crawler, I already started to build an obstacle course. The first one I built was on a poster board, and it was literally all cardboard. But I'm not gonna even show you that one. It's still actually put together. But I said, you know what, it's time to get a little bit better. And I decided to start making some modular pieces out of boxes. First thing you're gonna need, and I'm not gonna go over too many things right now. I have another video on this. But you're definitely gonna need a hot glue gun. You're gonna have to go through a lot of glue sticks depending on how big your project's gonna be. But you're definitely gonna want a hot glue gun. If not, you can get it done with some tape. But yeah, basically you're gonna keep all your trash, boxes. I've used bottles in here. You can use plastic, everything. But yeah, just real quick, it kind of started out as 3 modular pieces, and then since then I added. But the part that maybe people want to know is, like, once you do have something down and established, maybe how do you go about even adding more to that? So I'll just kind of give you a couple examples. Don't want to make the video too long. But for instance, this is my cliffhanger line that was added originally to the serpentine line. And the reason why I do a lot of different things I do, excuse me, is to make the lines either more challenging or to make them have better flow. I hate when I have to do a whole lot of reversing and doing all those, you know, K-turns. But so anyway, once we had this established, I had to come up with something, and you got to get pretty creative. So you're gonna have to add some more cardboard. So I'm just gonna show you a little behind the scenes. You can see I did some supports underneath here with cardboard. Made a ledge to come out. Yeah, so you got to get creative. And again, my number one coverage I like to use is spray foam. My number one tip for spray foam is definitely grab the great stuff. Great stuff can be sprayed out upright. Most of the other cans have to be sprayed the other way. Let me turn off this remote. I got the blade on right now. Yeah, and you want to put them in a hot water bath. Anytime you kind of spray some aerosols, a quick little tip is to put them in a hot water bath. You could fill up a tub, you could fill up a protein cup, put some hot water in there, shake it up real good, put it back in the hot water, shake it up again, put it back in the hot water. The nitrous that's inside the can is cooling off the can itself. So when you warm them up, it basically allows the ingredients to come out smoother. So get the most bang out your buck. But again, great stuff is like less than $5 a can. And I'll give you an instance of how much coverage you can get out of one can. This right here was exactly 1 can. And you know, I sprayed a couple pieces little in other places. But as you can see, there is a lot of foam on here. And right now, the way I created this is cardboard again. You could kind of see underneath there. And this was a line that we just tapped into Suicide Ridge up here. Just when you don't think that something's gonna have enough support, man, once you start tapping into glue and going from one point to the next, it definitely gets very strong. So again, right here, so spray foam, you have to let it dry. Once it dries, you're gonna have to start carving it out. That's how you're gonna get all your cool shapes. That's how you're gonna get the most grip. But yeah, I just wanted a whole bunch of continuous lines, and like I said, it's not that I don't have enough to crawl on, but I just get bored and want to make it some more challenging. So yeah, that was the Dark Ridge line, and then I said, okay, well now since I did that, I started test driving over here. I said, all right, well, we don't have an exit until we get down here, so I created the exit over here. So again, we added some cardboard to there, created some more lines. Cardboard can also be layered up into pieces to make it more rigid, to create more shapes. You can also bend it. And then again, this is 1 can of spray foam. Sprayed it all up, let it dry. And this is way bigger than this. And you know, we had to do some carving, try to make it look like rock as much as we can. And it's all up to you how you want to carve it up. But again, as you see these popsicles on the outsides, that's because once we do come off of these turns, we're pretty much on the edge. So I had to give myself a little more runoff. But yeah, it's a lot of testing that you're gonna have to do. But like I said, man, I could crawl over here for days. I love it. I wish I had gotten into it sooner. But yep, here goes Blade. Okay, so first off, I wanted to do my very first build. Excuse the washer in the background. I wanted to do my very first build from the ground up. So over here I have a couple experiences now with the Injora chassis. I went ahead and went with the XL Injora chassis. This is the one that is stock in XL form. There's 2 of them. One is a universal that actually slides back. That one, actually, I'm going to speak about that one because I believe that one is better, because that one has an 8-degree skid. This one has a 6-degree skid. Okay, so we have the Injora chassis that we have here. I went with the 39mm oil shocks. I have 20 weight in those. We have the PTK budget servo. You can find that at Amazon, 19 bucks. This budget servo, very nice, man. This thing is incredible. Your problem is it's going to be very big. It's big like the other servos that are out there. You're going to have to do some customization. For me, I still have the Injora mount up front. So we're kind of floating in the air on the last mount right there. You can see that right there. But yeah, this servo, absolutely love it. I went with other budget servos in the past, and I gotta be honest with you, the Injoras, the Emax, they're not gonna last. They're cool in a pinch, but once you start throwing weight on them and stuff like that, they're gonna burn out on you. Excuse me. Okay, we have the oh, she turned off. We have Gladiator length. Links, Injora drive shaft. We got the flat skid from Injora that's reversible. I went ahead, I had no patience. I wanted to get the Mias axles, but I went ahead and just got the Injora. These were the Injora stock axles that I modded. These are actually plus 4mm, but since then we went back down to stock length. So we're not 4mm plus anymore. But one thing to note about these axles is they're aluminum. They have nice weight to them, but they're very limited in the steering angles. As you can see, I did a whole lot of sanding them down. I have a custom styrene diff skid right there. And I did a whole lot of customizing, the same thing that you would do with stock axles, but I basically did them with the aluminum ones. Let me turn this back on. So by me doing all this sanding out with these little hand files, I got a crazy steering angle. It took a lot of work. See it better a little right there. Excuse my angle right now. My camera is mounted on my remote when I start driving. But yeah, that took a lot of work. I don't know if you guys let me know in the comments. Every time I've run on my SCX24's extended axles, I get major binding at full turn. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was something that has to do with the CVD, the little cup that's in there. I would get binding issues in there. So I've in the past, I've gone inside the plastic axle housings and carved out with the blade to smooth it out. I've got it pretty smooth, but at the end of the day, at full turn, under power, I would get like this little, you know, it's like it's rubbing on something. So I said, you know what? I went ahead and went back to stock axles. So these are the stock axles, not extended. I stand corrected. This one does come with the just standard axles, not extended. I actually ordered those and put them in here, but we took them back out. So now we're normal, stock length. But yeah, crazy angle. We got the, this comes with all this. Because of the servo being cocked forward, we had to put a couple spacers in there so that the servo wasn't all twisted. So that works well. I'm sitting on 1.3 Injoras on high racks that are cut to trim to fit the 1.3s comfortably. As you can see, there's a very small wall on them. I think a lot of people like the look of it, the way it looks, because very small profile, but the reason why is because it's such a small wheel. The high racks are, I believe, a 53, so there's not a big wall there to be fitting on a 1.3, but they work. We on the MB100. I absolutely love this ESC. Again, another budget-friendly ESC. The slow crawling on this thing is amazing. I mean, you could pretty much modulate this thing pretty slow. You know what I mean? But one thing I hate about the MB100 is the casing. I tried to decase it before, but it was so much whatever they use inside there, the glue. I didn't want to go in there with my blade, so it made me a little nervous. So what I did is basically trim down the casing all the way around on most of my MB100s just to fit it in between the rails right here, and it works. Okay, sorry about that. I got interrupted with Amazon delivery. But okay, what was that? MB100. So yeah, absolutely love the MB100. But yeah, that casing. Yeah, we gotta do something about that, guys. I just saw recently with the new reviews on the Mias just came out with a new brushed ESC that is way smaller footprint. But I don't know. I'm kind of like my MB100s. The reviews I see on there definitely has is noisier, and it had a little jumpiness in the beginning. But yeah. So we'll see. I got the 600 milliamp battery. I did some wire management over here with the wire looms. We got some homemade plastic from a casing of some type of a container. Made some sliders. I got one styrene on one side just to create more of a shelf. I had one on the other side, but it actually popped off, but I'm actually not using that slider right now. I got the Velcro strap that these Injora usually come with. I have that wrapped around the motor. And I usually keep my battery on there. This has the purple 50-turn motor, plus with the combo of the purple transmission, metal gears, and these are all helical cut. At first, when I got this, it had a break-in, but it was definitely noisier than your normal transmission, obviously. But I love this transmission. This thing is smooth. What else? Yeah, ladies, like I said, these rims are, I got brass in here. These are pretty heavy. And one thing I've learned with crawling is if you're going to be rocking hard bodies, whatever that hard body is, you definitely want to get the weight of that body. But you're definitely going to need a lot more weight in your vehicle, you know? So I know a lot of people don't want to chase weight, but I think weight is better. I think it just pulls down the vehicles. It allows the vehicles to dig in better. I notice tires always perform better when they're weighted. You know, the rear axles, when they're not weighted, they want to flop around coming off of a bump. You know, all that's going to get is going to help with some weight on it, you know. And then last but not least, we got the body. Again, I didn't get this idea. I didn't come up with this, but I saw it out there. People was talking about it. So every time I go to Walmart, I try to get inspired. Shout out to 24 Yep. But this is the new bright Nissan Frontier body. And I'm telling you, this thing is only 20 bucks. It is injected molded body. And the way she comes brand new is way bigger than this. It's got running boards. It's got the bull bar. It looks pretty dope. I wanted to keep a lot more of it, but it just wasn't working. The way the wheel wells are lining up and everything. So this is what we came up with. Decided to leave the wheels in there, even though they're plastic. They look pretty cool though. You know, we're talking about scale stuff. Everything in this scale world is not real, so I left them. We got the gas tanks with the extinguishers. It looks pretty cool. This is my second paint job on here already. Painted that up top. But yeah, again, anytime you're fitting a new body, man, it always gives me hell. You got to come up with some kind of system for magnets. The fronts are usually good, but the rear is always going to be tricky. You see how much trimming we had to do back here. But yeah, back here I just basically came up with it's a piece of styrene back there, and I got what, 3 magnets. And then not to mention over here, kind of want to do something custom, and I have the invisible magnet over here. Just to keep it so you can't see it. Kind of helps if you're running a half cab. That's pretty cool. You can do it that way. But one thing I will tell you, even though I do get contact on there, it's still not as strong as it would be if it was magnet to magnet. That's all I got to say about that. But yep, Mt.Richmore in his glory. So let me just show you a couple my favorite lines. This is always my go-to line that I love to do. Always shows what the cables can do, and it likes to float. So here we go. And a lot of these things might not come off on camera real good, the angles of them. But a lot of this stuff is pretty steep. This is another cool one that I like to do, right? Continuing to that one. And right now I'm rocking a GT5 remote. I've got that later on as well. That wasn't something that I was always rocking. And this over here is another cool line. Once I come off of this one, there we go. That piece right there, I named that one Volcano. See that MB100, man, is no joke. But again, right now, this thing is weighted. So if you didn't have weight on there, coming down from there, she might have flipped forward. The back axle might have flipped around. This is another cool line I added over here. Now, something I forgot to mention, okay, over here, these are all like the styrofoam that you use to plot, to make bouquets, that you stick the, the pegs in, the real hard stuff. Picked this up from Joann Fabrics. They were going out of business, so lately I've been hitting them up, and picked up a couple of these pieces. So basically what this is, I cut it into rocks. Because it's a different type of styrofoam that breaks up, I put the blow dryer to it. And what you do is when you put the blow dryer to it, you'll actually hear it start to crinkle. And it starts to shrink up a little bit, but what it's doing is actually closing up the cells. So when my tires go over it, it doesn't rip it to shreds, you know? But yeah, that's another thing that we added. This is the TP line. This is one of my favorites as well. And again, popsicle sticks. Oh no, blade. HOG. You gotta do that again. One thing I did notice about, because I went to stock width of the axles is, she's definitely gonna flip over a little bit more, but it all comes down to your driving. Gotta pay attention. This is Boardwalk Empire, all done with popsicle sticks. And again, first created it, and then I started to get bored. I said, what else can we do? So then we started adding more onto it. So I think this was the original. Before you know it, I made stitches going up this way. So then we needed an exit again. So yeah, it's just all about flow. This is another favorite line of mine over here. Again, you can't really see the angle of it. I'm gonna try to get it as best as I can. Woo. 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 Let me come over here and show you some of this. This over here was the escalator. The escalator was created for stock vehicles can go up and ride up Humpback Mountain. This is Humpback Mountain. And it was challenging because, you had to make sure you get your balance right and your tires placement. But I said, you know what, let's amp it up. So since then, we added a whole lot more wood on here. I tried to make it look like some wood, got some carvings in it. And so it's a little more challenging. It's definitely a tire tester. There's a couple spots in here where the tires want to get jammed up in here. So definitely different tread compounds and stuff like that will definitely give you an idea. But again, this Humpback Mountain, this is another test for a lot of vehicles going up and coming down. You're definitely going to need some weight. You definitely can't see how steep it is again. I haven't measured any of my my inclines or declines to see what they are. This is a cool line too. This is one of my favorites. And now since we have more foam on here, it's even taller. Which now I can continue all the way up into that. And that's how that looks. So far, I've tried it with all the vehicles. Some of them are very... I think I might have just lost my video real quick, but we'll add this one. Like I was saying, yeah. Some of them pretty big. And this is a cool line too. I like the way this one came out. Show you the close-up of it. And again, you're gonna have to put your own paint on here. Acrylic paint to me works the best because you can paint it indoors. My first modular pieces were all done with spray paint, and that got to be a little annoying because every time I have to go out to the garage and do all that kind of stuff. Excuse the loud TV in the background. But yeah, this video's been long enough. There you go. Shout out to Genesis Crawlers. And yeah, here you go, aka Blade. Yeah, stay tuned, like and subscribe, more content to come. Catch you on the next one.